Good morning, and welcome to this week's Monday Motivation. My name's Jenny Kovacs, and I'm known as the Queen of Being Seen because you being able to spread your ripples far and wide and get your message out there is what gets me out of bed in the morning, even way before 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember that if there's just a little nugget that grabs your heart in any way, shape or form, please do share this with your friends on their timeline, with your groups if you're allowed to, and with your audience if you feel compelled to. So, since 1980, but that wouldn't be right. Since 2008, I've been making Monday Motivations, which actually started off as a little email to get people going. Started off as an email to chivvy people up, because I think that Monday mornings quite often get a bad rap. Instead of being the time and place where you look forward to whizzing through your week and getting stuff done and making stuff happen and living the lives, let's face it, that you want to do. Instead, Mondays can get slated. Even the Boomtown Rats sang it, I don't like Mondays. So if this is you, if you know that you are a go-getter, if you know that you are a person that wants to make a difference in the world, you have come to the right Facebook Live. So if you're watching, do say hello. And so far we have Tracy. Yay! Hi Tracy. She says, good morning Jenny. Do type your comments and questions below while we go for the next sort of 15-20 minutes, because I love to interact with you. I love to answer your questions, and I absolutely cringe when I go back afterwards and realise that I haven't answered a question or seen something. So Alan is saying good morning to me and good morning to Tracy. Tracy, like me, she says, I love Mondays. So, although she probably didn't say it quite in that voice, but in my head, that's what she's doing, like dancing and saying how much she loves and adores Mondays. So, this is all about the gap. So, why am I talking about the gap, and how does that motivate your Monday? Well, one of the things that I'm so privileged with, the people that I get to work really closely with, one of the things I'm so privileged to witness, if you like, and to see happening in the world are these people that they notice that there's a gap somewhere in their life, and they do a number of things. And I've been looking at this, not only with the people that I've been working with this year, but the people I've been working with for the last 7 years specifically, since I've started a business. Hey, France Lees is on. She says, good morning, Jenny. Good morning, everyone. Morning, France Lees. So there are some observations, and I not only observed the people that I get to work with. I think I'm so fortunate because they are like really setting the world on fire. I also looked at myself, because these Monday Motivations, they don't just come out of the air. They look at the things that I've been challenged with, not only my clients but myself, that I've been challenged with, and how I've either got over them, walked through them, or quite frankly bombed at them. So I have noted down a few different things that I have noticed. People that have noticed a gap or an area in their life where they want things to be different. Maybe they've got a wish, maybe they've got a dream, and they don't want it to stay as a wish or a dream forever. They want to do something about it. They want to affect change in the world. They want to make a difference to someone's life. So for those people, I have just sort of penned down and prepared a few observations of things that we do. And my wish for you is that we can work together and throughout this week use this to notice where, which ones we can tick off and which ones that we can continue to look at and work at. Hey Buzz, good morning. She says, good morning, precious. I know what you did there, Buzz. I nearly called you precious as well. Morning. I'm just going to move my camera around a little bit. If you just bear with me. Sorry about this. Okay. So you ready? Now, I don't know how many of you have pen and paper. How many of you watch this at 7 in the morning with pen and paper? If you watch it with pen and paper, give me a thumbs up. If you watch it with a strong cup of coffee, give me a love heart. If you watch it in bed, all warm and cozy, give me a face. And if you do something else, feel free to give me one of the other emotions that go across the screen. I'd love to know. One of the things about me is I'm nosy by nature, but that curiosity gets me far. So I see One of you watches with a cup of coffee, and what do the others do? If you watch with nothing, you just watch. That's fine too. So the good thing about these Facebook Lives, by the way, is at the moment that I press stop, give it about 30 seconds, you can actually click on a tiny little arrow at the top of the page on the right hand side, the top of this particular Facebook Live, and you can save it to your favourite videos and watch it again. And quite often when I'm watching other people, I often will watch a few times, so repetition. And one of the things that I very rarely do is tick something off, unless it's something physical, like create a course, like an online course, or if it was to be write a book, which I haven't ticked off yet, or go and speak to a certain number of people in the audience or a certain type of audience, or do something different. Then I can tick it off. But quite often it's never finished in my eye, so I'll go back and I'll save something and I'll watch it again, or I'll listen to it again, or I'll read it again, and I'll do that a number of times until it becomes something that I naturally think about. So Tracy says listening while working. Cool, love it. Okay, so let's get on with some of these things that I've noticed for people like you, like me, like my gorgeous clients who are looking to fill certain gaps. So the first thing that I've noticed are that these are some of the most self-aware people on the planet. They're the most self-aware people on the planet because just before I carry on, I'm curious now. Tracy, you said you're listening while working. What type of working are you doing right now? I'm curious to know. Very, very curious to know. Let me know in the box. And if you don't want to let me know publicly here, just pop something over in the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which is a Facebook group, because I'm just really curious. Anyway, so the first thing, sorry, I just got distracted then. The first thing that people like you, people like I do, is noticing. I often prescribe the pill of noticing with new clients that I'm working with. Now, anyone who goes through a new program or a new coaching thing with me, whatever we're doing together, it could be that I'm consulting. I always want to know that the person has noticed where their own gap is. It's all well and good me swanning in and saying, oh, so you want to write an online course and you haven't? Well, there's more than that in the gap. There's more than that. And it's important for the person to notice what that thing is. It could be that by creating an online course that they get a life of freedom. As I know Alan is currently creating an online course, and in some respects his reasons is because he's got so much knowledge that's in his head. He wants people to get access to this knowledge because he wants to make a difference. So look at the gap, but the most important thing is look and be self-aware, notice. And just kind of that leads me on to another piece of the noticing. When people are being self-aware and they're noticing the gap, they don't use the acknowledgement of their own gap to beat themselves up. They use the acknowledgement of that gap to just purely look at the kind of the holes that they have, a bit like a Swiss cheese. Where are the holes? Which holes need to be filled and which holes maybe don't need to be filled? Which holes give me clarity and space? Which holes aren't detrimental to what I want to do in the world? So a lot of people who are really great at noticing any gaps will notice the gap, and they'll be very self-aware, highly self-aware, but they will not beat themselves up. This is the most important thing, because quite frankly that's a waste of energy, a waste of mind clutter, a waste of space. So that's the thing. So we'll go on to the second thing, but first Tracy's come back. She says she's happy to share she's creating a branding board in Photoshop. That's very early for you to be doing that, but I love that you're doing that at 7 in the morning. So there you go. So Tracy, at any time that you want to go into the Visibility Vibes Tribe and tell us more about why you're creating branding boards and exactly what you're doing there, because there are so many creative souls in there, so many change-making people in there, that I'm sure you'll like the space in there if you're not there already. And this goes for anybody else. If you are not already in the Visibility Vibes Tribe, do click on the box at the top there. Now, the only difference is when you come into the Visibility Vibes Tribe, I ask you 3 questions. They literally take a few seconds. But I ask you 3 questions and you must complete them. Otherwise, you don't get let into the group. It's only because I spend a lot of time and effort creating value, creating actual valuable content that I can share with you. And I've known when it was the first few hundred or 200 or so, that was fine. But now the group is growing, and now I like to almost protect the community in there. I just need to know who you are. And quite often there's some tricky little critters on Facebook who aren't who they say they are, or who enjoy the old cut and pasting and sending stuff out into the world and putting their name and brand on when it doesn't belong to them. And, you know, I've, over the years, grown long in the tooth with this sort of thing. But with my clients, I won't have it. With my Vibers, I won't have it. So that's the reason why I asked for those questions. So, back on a mission. Hey, Gail's on. Hi, Gail. She says, morning, fab to see you on Friday. It was good to see you too. We got a picture together as well. Yay! So this is what I love. I love the fact that I get to broadcast these. I love the fact that people from all over the country and all over the world watch them. And then I get to give them a squeeze live. How cool is that? So, first one, noticing. And if you've missed that, just go back and watch on the replay just to catch up with where you are now. Now, the second one is, like, look at where, where you are. And when I say look at where you are, once you have noticed where your holes might be, where your gaps might be, notice whereabouts you are. Now, the best way to do this is just to have a look at the where you are right here, right now. One of the things that I find around people that have big dreams and big aspirations and big plans is that sometimes, just sometimes, they look at where they are and then they'll go, oh my gosh, it's so far to get to where I need to be, or look at that person, they've done this and I haven't done that yet. But instead of using it a bit like point number one to beat yourself up or turn yourself over or inside out, just take a candid look at where you are. It's almost like an audit. Excuse me, it's almost like an audit. Have a look at where you are now, and you can then see really clearly where your present moment is. What are the gaps? What is it that you like? What holes would you need to fill maybe? What would you need to know before you can go forward? And there's a few other things that I've seen on here which I'd like to share. Now, I find this really interesting because, mainly because of my job and what I do, I get to spend some time with some really, really fascinating people. People that have got success on different levels. For you, success might be the financial thing if you've got a business, or for you, success might be to be the top salesperson in your team, or for you, the main point of success might to be the person that gets consulted and is the consultant to people in their specific area. For you, success might be every time that somebody says the sector that you work in, that your name is on their lips. Or success might be where people go, oh, visibility, go and speak to Jenny Kovacs, for example. So know where you are, know where the next gap is. Now, one of the things I had in a very recent conversation actually with somebody who is like that is the fact that they do it and they work quickly, which brings me on to the next point. Know how and where to ask for help, okay, and to receive that help. So this person noticed that they have what could become a problem because they're really self-aware. It's not a problem yet, but they've noticed a gap. And they decided that, like, who do I know that can really help me plug this gap? There are a couple of people in their life that they know about. And they're not even round the corner. They're quite a far distance away. But they have decided, you know what? I'm going to go and actually speak to these people because it's important. Yes, he could have picked up the phone, but he didn't. Yes, he could have gone onto a Skype call, but he didn't. He's decided that he's going to make quite an epic journey to go and sit with these other people so that he can look them in the eyeballs and the whites of their eyes. Now, for you, it doesn't mean that you have to make grand gestures by travelling all over the country or even the world. It could be that your thing is to reach out for them. Maybe they are going to be live, hosting something live in a room, and you're going to get the opportunity not only to be with them, but to be with other people who are after the same thing. Or it could be that you get the chance to join a group of some sort that they're in. Maybe it's a network of some sort. But whatever that thing is, like, know where your gap is and know how you can ask for that help. It's quite interesting. I've had to say to people, if you need something from me, please either connect with me in my group or send a message right here on this page. Now, this isn't me doing the whole snobbery and who do I think I am piece. This is because, like, I'm not even exaggerating. through Facebook alone, I get so many messages from people, to be honest, I don't know very well, asking me to do stuff for them. And what I always struggle with is I always want to be able to respond compassionately with that person, but sometimes people are coming to me and asking me to do things that are part of my products and services. And they'll often know, because they'll say, I know this is a bit cheeky, but now, how is that fair to the people that are paying for my products and services, paying for my expertise, my consultation, paying for me to help them? Because it's what I do. If somebody said, oh, can you help me draw a flower? It's likely something I can help with, but I get so many messages. So when I say ask for help, think really strategically. If you want help in building a webinar and you know that maybe you're just starting your business, or that you don't have the expertise or knowledge, you might actually just do what the guy in the conversation that I had recently did, and look for the person that you know who can do it and that you trust and that you like, and go to them and go and learn from them. Or it could be that you're at a place where, you know what, I'm going to have to Google it and have a look at like where to get started, or click on one of those sponsored ads on Facebook, or you know, have a look at a video, or speak to a peer, or speak to a friend. So when you ask for help, people that really understand the gap that they're in and know how to work that gap will have a look, and they will ask for help, and ask in an appropriate way. I hope that makes sense. Tracy says, was created yesterday, was pulling together final bits and printing for my wall. I'm in the group and I'll share it. Ooh, nice. Thank you, Tracy. That's Tracy talk. Sorry, I just put my thumb over the camera lens there like that. That's Tracy talking about what she is pulling together. Brilliant. Okay, so first thing is, do the noticing thing. Notice within yourself where your gaps are. Don't use it to beat yourself up, just notice. Second thing, look at where you are. Take it like an audit, a self-audit of where you are. Third thing, remember to ask for help. Now the fourth thing is to take action. So many people, and this is why I stopped giving away advice for free, because I noticed that when people asked me for help in that way, they didn't do anything with it. And for someone who wants to make, like, properly and genuinely make a difference to people's lives, it is one of the most frustrating ends of the stick to be on. You know, the other way that I see people not taking action is they'll tell me that they have seen something that I'm doing, for example. I can only speak from my experience, if that makes sense. They'll tell me that they've seen something that I'm doing, like they've seen that I've published a Facebook Lives masterclass, or they'll see that you know, they're having trouble voicing the invisibility of the work that they do, and they'll say, it's really calling to me, but I'm going to sit with it and decide. And what happens is, you don't decide from your heart. When you get nudged, or when you get called to do something, it's because there's something quite often bigger than you, bigger than your brain, bigger than your passions, that is pointing you in that direction. When you sit with it and you mull it over, you then internalize it. You actually take it into your brain. Even if you think your practice is like meditation or something else, you tend to take it into your brain, you internalize it, and then you say no to a desire that you have. That for me is one of the most heartbreaking things that I do. And I want you to think about this just for a second. You don't need to comment on here. Think about a big burning desire that you've got in your life. Now think about the impact that would make if you never got the opportunity to fulfill that desire. So whether your desire is to help other people, what would happen if you never got the opportunity to help those other people? What if the desire is to do something within your life or within your business or at work that just really enables you to make a difference? What if you didn't get the opportunity to do that? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that sometimes going for these choices can be scary, can really stretch us outside of our comfort zone. But the place that I look at is like, where am I coming from, and what would I like to achieve? What would I like to get out in the world? How would I like to help people? Stops me from getting in here and gets me out there, gets me out into the world, gets my message out into the world, gets people showing up to do things, to listen to what I have to say, but most importantly, to start to implement it in their own lives. So I just see the comments going up there. Okay, so take action. Don't ask for help and then sit on it. Don't fall into the trap of feeling scared. Ask for help and take action. You know, I heard from a client just on Friday who sent me a message to say, yay, I've got another new client. And what's so significant about this isn't the whole, oh, I've just got clients. It's the fact that she's got clients that are the people that she ideally wants to work with and also want to work with her. She's got another juicy client in it, and she's working with them in a different way, a way that benefits them and a way that benefits her. And what I love about this was that this lady took action. She worked with me. She asked what she needed. She looked at the gap. She didn't get in her head about it. And although at times it felt scary, she went ahead and did it. And what I love about messages like that isn't the fact that she worked with me or anything else like that. It's the fact that she's gone through that pain barrier almost, that she's come through to the other side and she's achieved just one of the things she set out to achieve, which now means that she can make her own difference to people in the world. That's what warms my heart. That is what I call the ripple effect. So take action and do whatever you need to do, one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, to get the thing done. So the next thing, hey, Jay's on. Good morning all, she says. Good morning, Jay. So then the next thing is be clear on your outcome. Now, I'll never forget this. I was once at an event and somebody said, oh yeah, Jenny does, you know, helps people to stand out, get the message out into the world and all that kind of stuff. And from somebody saying that, this guy came over to me and said, oh, here's my name, this is what I do, and I want to work with you. Now, I'd never met him before, from Adam. It was interesting because what really stood out for me was the clarity he had. He clearly already knew where he was, but he also was very clear on where he wanted to go. Most of us, if we're not careful, and I've fallen into this trap so many times, will look at where I am now, where I want to go, and get all concerned in the how. You know, can't see the woods for the trees, and how am I going to do it, and who am I going to do it with, and, you know, how's it going to happen, and what if this, and what if that. And that actually stops us from going to where we need to be. So the most useful thing you can do when identifying your own gap is to have a look very clearly at where you want to go. And it is as simple as this if you allow it to be. Imagine that you are getting in the car, either with a map or a sat-nav, and you've decided that you want to drive from, say, London to Manchester. All you need to do is to know that you want to be at Manchester. Now, you can either plug into the sat-nav and the sat-nav will show you the how, or you can have a look at your map, a few minutes of looking at the map, plotting out the routes that you need and the main roads you need to take. Now, if you were to plot out a journey saying, yeah, but as I drive, I'm going to have to change down from 4th gear to 3rd gear, and then I'm going to have to accelerate here and use my brakes, it would become really, really overwhelming. So why do we do that when we're looking for our dreams or our plans? What we all need to do is make sure, and I speak to myself on this as well, get clear on where the gap is presently, and then in our kind of future, be very clear on what we want to achieve, what we want to aim for and what we want to achieve. Once you've done that, that's when you can use a single focus. Another thing that these people that I speak to and get to work with just seem to have, you know, have that down. So they have a look at where they are, have a look at where they're going, and then they use a single focus. They don't even use it as like, oh, I need to motivate myself to do this. So, and although that this is all about Monday motivation, they look at what they're committed to, and you can only see what you're committed to when you're looking in the distance, when you're looking at where you want to go, when you've got every detail on what you want to do and where you want to go. And this can be from having a specific type of diet, to standing on a stage and, you know, delivering your message, to writing a book, to creating an online course, to having a bigger presence so that people know that you're the person that they need. Okay, so having a look at or being very clear on your outcome is of paramount importance. And I see someone else has joined there. There's quite a few that have been joining, so thank you for those of you that are hopping on as you go. So then the final thing, and I wrote down some notes just here, is to work the gap. Really to work the gap. Hey, Ivona's on. She says, morning all. Don't you worry, Ivona. You watch what you need to watch. So the final thing is, like, how to close the gap. Like, be really specific, be really committed, and don't let the mind chatter that, oh gosh, will I be able to do this, and what will happen. Like, literally work the gap, work it step by step, work it piece by piece. As you go forward, get the help that you need along the way and bring it into your existence. Go to the people that have got the experience, even if it feels scary, even if it feels expensive. God knows that I have paid a lot for my own development in the years, and the reason that I've paid a good 5 figures, or over, not quite over 5 figures, but a good 5 figures in investment, so over tens of thousands of pounds, is because I always want to get the highest quality knowledge from the person that's done it. And I notice that my people who are like rocking it out of the park, and these aren't celebrities or anything else like that, some of these are people, and I noticed the other day, many consultants, funnily enough, but these are people who consult, who are freelancers, who are associates. These are people that really want to make a difference in the world, and they will adopt these different skills. So let us know. Let us know in the Visibility Vibes Tribe group if you'd like to, but if not and you're happy to sort of post in the box below, let us know something that you're going to go for. And if you want to keep it personal or private, just say, I have decided what I'm going for this week and this is what I'm going to do. Hope that's been helpful for you. And remember, if this has been helpful to you or could be helpful to anybody else you know that needs a little bit of motivation, do share this video with them, and remember to save it or click on the update so that you can come back, because I'm in the middle of 30 days of giving you different nuggets of information. And if you even scroll up above this video, you'll see them that started, of course, on the 1st of November. Thank you so much for joining me. Lots of love and motivation to your week. Bye for now.